But we want to start the hour with developing news from the Karen Read case. Multiple agencies reporting, and we have actually located the docket too as well. They have added a new attorney, it appears, on the Karen Read defense team. And what is fascinating about this new attorney was a member of the jury in Karen Read 1. She ended up being an alternate in this case, but can you imagine? She's a licensed attorney, licensed in Massachusetts. She sat through the entire Karen Read case. She has made public statements to WBZ and others saying that she was disgusted by the Commonwealth during the case, ends up being an alternate, and now they brought her onto the team, apparently, and talk about a move that could really yield dividends. I mean, you're talking about a person that knows the case from a juror standpoint and also an attorney's.
Yes, the knowledge that she would bring to the defense team is humongous. She would have a lot to say, a lot to offer. Now, when you take a look at this, and it seems that from the reports that she has been added, there are some questions in regard to this. A lot of law review journals have been written about this. What are ethical considerations when a former juror, I should say, goes and joins a defense team? Could they sit on that jury and maybe say, we want a mistrial, we want a hung jury, and then eventually they join the defense team and they get paid? So I don't know what her compensation would be if she is getting compensation for joining the defense team. She is a practicing attorney, so I would assume she is getting paid. But it's a really interesting and big development because of the knowledge that she would bring to the defense team.
And she has been very outspoken. She has been speaking with WBZ, among others, and basically saying that she distrusts this prosecution, the Commonwealth's prosecution of Karen Read, and she was part of that panel, but she was bounced. She was an alternate. So she didn't deliberate with the rest of the panel. Jeffrey Wolf is watching along with us. He's a criminal defense attorney in Denver, Colorado. Jeffrey, what do you make of this? That this ex-juror sounds like she's going to be joining the Karen Read defense team for Karen Read 2.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like I may be having some difficulties here with my video, but this is an incredibly unique perspective that this defense team is going to be able to get from this juror, because this is who, even though she was an alternate and wasn't in the deliberations, she is someone who was privy to how the jurors were thinking about the case throughout the case. Because as much as judges tell jurors, don't discuss the case during the case, I think we all know that they do. I don't think that we are able to assume that they are never talking about the case throughout the pendency of the case. And so this person is somebody who knows what the jurors thought of the evidence the first time around, who knows inside and out, like you said, the case itself, because she's already sat through the evidence. And I don't think that there's necessarily an ethical consideration as to what she may have done to affect the first trial's outcome, because she wasn't in deliberations to cause the mistrial with the hung jury. She didn't sit in that deliberation room and cause a mistrial through a hung jury, because she wasn't in there. As an alternate juror, you don't sit in and basically make it so that a verdict doesn't come out of that room. She just wouldn't have been in there. And so this is a very, very unique perspective that this defense team is now going to have. And I think it's incredibly invaluable, because any defense attorney and any prosecutor that has talked to a jury after a trial will tell you that jurors very often are fixated on parts of the case that the trial lawyers never thought they would fixate on. And so now they have someone on their side who is going to tell them which pieces of this case the jurors were fixated on.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing new for attorneys to go and hire former jurors as consultants in their case. This particular case, she actually is an attorney, so she's going to pick up on things, or would have picked up on things throughout the trial that a non-attorney would not have necessarily picked up on. But it is fascinating to hear about this and how this will impact their defense going forward, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely, because not only, like you said, is it common that you may talk to the jury afterwards, you may consult with them afterwards, but now this person has the dual base of knowledge of having sat through it as a juror, but sat through it as a juror who was thinking about it like a lawyer. That is very rare. It's in a criminal trial, to have a lawyer left on the jury is rare. You are often going to see prosecutors and defense attorneys do everything they can to keep lawyers off the jury so that they don't have that extra perspective of the lawyer sitting in there. You know, you're going to hear, you know, prosecutors say they don't want defense attorneys on their juries, and you're going to hear defense attorneys say,
Yep. Lost Jeffrey there, but making the point that, yeah, lawyers don't like other lawyers on a jury panel for a lot of reasons. Mainly because you don't want some person over there rolling their eyes and thinking, I had have done this better, and then they end up, well, there's just a fear that they're going to end up using the performance of the lawyers over possibly the facts of the case. But she was on the panel, and you know, in this statement to WBZ after one of the pre-trial motion hearings in Carrie 2, she said, I came in with an open mind, and that as it progressed, she became more and more sort of underwhelmed by the Commonwealth.
Another reason why you wouldn't necessarily want an attorney on the panel is because other people might defer to that attorney.
Yes, oh yeah.
Be swayed
What should we do?
more
Right, yeah.
by their opinion. And so you're like, well, we don't necessarily want that person
Running the show.
running the show. So,
Good point. But it's a fascinating development, and that's the news at this hour. Every hour changes here at Court TV. But again, an alternate juror from the first Karen Reed trial has joined apparently the defense team for round 2 as she prepares for her retrial, and they prepare to pick a jury starting next week.